While mid-size SUVs are easy to divide into labourer or luxury, the large SUV segment is a bit muddier, and the Mazda CX-80 next to me certainly doesn't help that. It's effectively a stretched wheelbase version of the CX-60 already on sale in Australia, and where I am right now in Augsburg, Germany, it acts as the brand's flagship vehicle. That means it has to do battle with everything from Hyundai Santa Fe's and Toyota Klugers right up to Volvo XC90s and BMW X5s. That's a tough ask. Plus, in Australia, we already have the CX-90 as Mazda's true flagship model, giving the CX-80 an even tougher small niche to fill, to expand the brand's range upmarket without alienating existing CX-8 and CX-9 customers. Mazda Australia is keeping price on the down low for now, but we may be pleasantly surprised with a price that could match the most affordable CX-60 if not slightly undercut it. We're currently expecting 3 trim levels in Australia, though the final names are yet to be confirmed. The melting copper CX-80 you see here is the European Homura Plus trim, similar to our Azami without the Takumi package. We're expecting pricing to be around 90 grand for the top trim. It gets 20-inch alloy wheels, LED lighting, leather upholstery, heated and ventilated seats, a 12.3-inch multimedia screen and digital driver's display, wireless phone mirroring and a Bose sound system. A mid-spec version could perhaps sidle in at around 70 grand where the old CX-9 topped out. Of course, all come with all-wheel drive and new generation 6-cylinder or plug-in hybrid powertrains, helping justify the premium over the old CX-9. Aside from the new melting copper colour you can see on this car, from the front end, the CX-80 looks remarkably familiar with its LED lights and the lovely grille, and I think quite a handsome jutting front end. But it's where we come down the side, beyond the front door, where you start to see the changes. The extra 250mm of wheelbase back here is pretty much all in this rear door. And I think the CX-60 is a decent looking SUV, but with the extra wheelbase, I do think the CX-80 looks a little bit ungainly. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, but the proportions just aren't quite right. The CX-90 still has that really nice, it feels like more of a continuation of the CX-9. Again, let me know your thoughts down below, but I think what you can't deny is the fact that it looks very similar to all the other Mazdas on sale today, be that a good or a bad thing. That theme continues inside, where Mazda's latest CX-80 looks very similar to a CX-9 on the surface. It has similar soft plastic materials on the dash tops and a very familiar steering wheel. There's also the rotary controller lifted directly from the smaller and much more affordable CX-30. When it comes to technology, everything looks pretty crisp in the CX-80, and if you're coming from an older Mazda product, I think you'll find it a nice upgrade. The new skin on the multimedia interface here does look pretty nice and crisp, if not a huge leap on from the CX-30. The 12.3-inch digital driver's display is also very legible, although it doesn't take advantage of what it could like an Audi system. Still, it's crisp and it looks handsome, and it now has graphics for the adaptive driving assist that works on the freeway. But then we come to the sort of practicality issues that come from the inline-6 engine layout of this car. You've got this really broad, really tall transmission tunnel. There are still some pretty clever storage spaces, like a spot for a wireless charger right next to a 150-watt 12-volt socket. You've also got these 2 cup holders under a flip-up tray, and then under this butterfly armrest you do have a fairly small little storage space with a couple of USB-C ports. There are also pretty decent door bins in the pockets. It's decent, but it's not a groundbreaking car when it comes to practicality in here. That said, at least the material qualities and the finish and the fit in this car feels really high quality. Perhaps not right up there with real premium rivals like Audi and BMW, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. As standard, the seats are leather appointed and they're power adjustable too. The car we're in here is the Homura Plus grade, which gets heating and ventilation for those seats. It's plenty spacious back here in the CX-80, and I've got good news for you because Australia is apparently not getting this flimsy, lame little center cup holder arrangement for the 6-seater. We're getting the proper center console just as you see in current versions of the CX-90. So that's a win. And we can ignore that being rather bad. The rest of the back seat is pretty nice. You've got integrated sunblinds on this grade, you've got soft touch materials up here, and a pretty nice cabin ambiance, as well as a good stadium view over the front seats. Space is great as well. I've got plenty of headroom at 188 centimeters, decent amount of knee room, and a fair amount of toe room too. The seats also slide and tilt. They're on manual sliders, so I think it's about 120 millimeters fore and aft, and then 15 to 33 degrees on the recline, so you can give the third row passengers more space if they need. Despite the CX-80 being a little smaller than the CX-90, there is still a decent amount of third row space. There's certainly a lot more than a Nissan X-Trail or a Mitsubishi Outlander, and it feels about on par with a Kia Sorento. Beyond just the space, though, there are amenities back here that you might not have expected to see. Starting with the upholstery, it's the same leather you see in the second row and the first row with the same contrast copper stitching. Nice touch. You also get cup holders, 2 more USB ports to go with the 2 in the second row, and you even get little air vents. Not sure how effective they are. They seem like they just blow cold air on your legs, but hey, that's a start and it's certainly better than nothing. Aside from hitting my head on the power tailgate, the CX-80's boot is plenty usable. You've got 287 litres of space with all 3 rows up, including underfloor storage, and then if you fold the seats down, you've got nearly 600 litres of space, which then grows to nearly 2,000 litres up to the roof. So it's pretty practical. We've also got nice touches like an AC power outlet back here and a 12-volt socket as well to charge accessories, and the plug-in hybrid gets a 1500 watt outlet too. Unfortunately though, there's no spare tyre on this car, and it's unlikely that Mazda's going to be able to package one for the Australian market. This engine, the straight 6 diesel, is my pick. It's got 187 kilowatts and 550 newton meters. There will also be a plug-in hybrid with 241 kilowatts and a petrol turbo inline 6, just like the CX-60, exclusively in Australia. How do the engines perform out on the road? Well, really good. And although it's strange for a company like Mazda to invest so much money in new straight 6 engine technology, I think it's sort of paid off. It certainly gives the brand a point of difference, not unlike it had when it was building rotaries. For me, the diesel is punchy and crisp, and I think we're starting to get used to this new transmission type, or Mazda's getting better at calibrating it because it works really nicely. I haven't noticed any awkward shunting at low speed that we definitely identified in the CX-60. The plug-in hybrid is also an interesting option. I don't think it's quite as well integrated as some models, but it's certainly got plenty of punch. And, you know, when you're getting up it, there's a synthesized soundtrack that does sound pretty good, if not totally faithful to what a 4-cylinder would sound like. So there's a couple of great options there. It also delivers on the range claim of around 60 kilometers from a full charge of its 17.8 kilowatt hour battery. Plus, the fuel efficiency of the diesel is really good. The claim is 5.8 litres per 100 Ks, but yesterday on a 300 K test loop that took in some German Autobahn, we ended up seeing 6.8 litres per 100 Ks, which is almost exactly the same as we saw in the plug-in hybrid on the same loop. That car got 7 litres per 100. Plus, I should add that the iStop start-stop system with the 48-volt mild hybrid tech is pretty seamless in its activation, and the diesel is in no way clattery at all. But what a lot of you will want to know is how's the ride? Well, Mazda's made some changes from the CX-60. Retuned steering system, retuned stability control, new firmer dampers in the front, and revised steering geometry. At the back, what Mazda's done is put softer springs in there, firmer dampers, and ditch the anti-roll bars. So what does that feel like out on the road? Well, I can report on cobblestones in a rare, poorly surfaced piece of Germany in the old town of Augsburg that the CX-80's ride quality seems to be relatively plush at low speeds, which is an improvement because before, the CX-60 at least was pretty firm. But it's up at higher speeds where the CX-80 still doesn't feel perfect. Once you're doing over 100 k's an hour, over even 80 k's an hour on a motorway or something like that, you notice there's a little bit of secondary body movement over every bump. I still think Mazda could have gone a little bit tighter on the rebound to give this car slightly better body control. Plus, going softer and getting rid of that rear anti-roll bar seems to have made the steering just that little bit less precise and a bit more body roll. So it's changed the character of the CX-80. I think for the better. 3-row SUVs, you probably want to be more comfortable than outright sporty, so I think Mazda's moving in the right direction. But adaptive dampers that are well tuned are something that would sort these issues out pretty much straight away. So I'd love to see those in a midlife facelift. When it comes to refinement, the CX-80 is pretty good. Certainly at normal speeds around town, you feel nicely insulated in here. We did notice a couple of strange harmonics on concrete sections of motorways, but we'll have to investigate further when we get this thing back home. And when it comes to safety, the CX-80 is not yet rated by ANCAP, though the CX-60 does have a 5-star rating. Because the releases are a couple of years apart, the CX-80 will probably face harsher tests, which means it has a few extra safety features. Those include driver attention monitoring and rear seat occupant monitoring, as well as a warning. They join the rest of the systems such as auto AEB, adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist. Make sure to head to carsguide.com.au for full safety details. With 3 rows of seating, plenty of space inside, lots of options, a petrol, diesel straight 6 and also a plug-in hybrid powertrain, I think it's safe to say that the CX-80 makes the most sense out of all of Mazda's new large products. But what's going to be crucial is pricing. If it's too expensive, it's going to turn buyers of CX-9s and CX-8s off in Australia and back to rivals like the Kia Sorento and Toyota Kluger. If Mazda manages to price it right though, it has all the elements it needs to succeed, and the extra refinement put into this new vehicle since the launch of the CX-60 seems to have paid off. Make sure to head to the detailed review at the carsguide.com.au website, hit like and subscribe below if you haven't done so already, and thanks for watching.